Alright, we're going to see how this goes. In John 18, a lot of times when you read John 18, you read about Peter denying Jesus 3 times, and everybody compares that to Judas, but I want to compare that to something different, something else that was going on there that is just crazy, So it says that they took Jesus to the home of the high priest, Annas. Annas was a high priest. He was a high priest for about 15 years. And then he quit being high priest, and Caiaphas, his son-in-law, became the high priest. And like in modern day, Putin was the president of Russia for a zillion years. And according to their laws, they have to have a new president, because you can't have a president in office for too long. So Medvedev becomes the president, and Putin becomes the prime minister. So he still does the same thing. He's still totally in charge of Russia, except now he just works through Medvedev instead of being the president. Same way with this high priest business. Annas, no longer the high priest, but everybody called him the high priest, even though his son-in-law Caiaphas is now the high priest. So they go to the home. What does all that have to do with anything? They go to the home of Annas to take Jesus before him and accuse him. And it says that one of Jesus' disciples knew the high priest and was allowed into the house. But Peter was not known, and so he waited by the door. And then the other disciple comes, tells the servant girl, let him in, and then Peter comes in. So there was one of Jesus' disciples that knew the high priest well enough that the servant girl also knew him. The servant girl that was like the gatekeeper, the person at the door that let people in or didn't, knew this guy, knew a disciple. Okay, so who is it? Well, all over in the Gospel of John, John refers to disciples by name, except for himself. He always refers to himself as the disciple Jesus loved, or the other disciple. So here it is, John himself, one of Jesus' best friends, is good enough friends with the high priest to be able to get into his house in the middle of the night. Wow. Pretty radical. Okay, so then all of a sudden you have to ask yourself, why didn't John try to stop this crazy business? Why didn't John go into his friend Annas and say, come on, buddy, you know Jesus hasn't done anything wrong. Why? Well, for a different reason than Peter tried to chop his head off and got his ear. John was there when he heard Jesus say, not my will, but your will be done. When Jesus said, put your sword away, to Peter, when he said, put your sword away, should I not drink the cup the Father has given me? So John knew that he didn't have to go in and defend Jesus, that Jesus was doing everything right on schedule. So even though he had a friend indoors that was powerful, he had learned to submit to the Father, just like Jesus had taught him.